Greetings, everyone, and welcome to the Produce Buzzers podcast. We are so happy you have joined us today, and I think you will be too after the show is over, because you will learn a lot about fresh fruits and vegetables, how to select and store them, how to prepare and cook them, and surprising facts about their history and origin. We hope it inspires you to eat more fresh fruits and vegetables, not only for your health, but also for your delight and pleasure as you explore their amazing world of taste and delicious flavors. Eating more of them will transform your life in so many positive ways. So settle back, relax, and get ready for another delicious adventure with the Produce Buzzers. Greetings and welcome to another delicious episode of the Produce Buzzers podcast. I'm Edwin Stepp, your host and executive editor of ProduceBuzz.com. I'm joined once again by Teresa Nolan, the founder and president of Produce Buzz, along with Rick Stepp, the contributing editor to Produce Buzz. Our lovely associate, Cynthia Benedetto, couldn't make it this week, but she'll be back soon, we hope, and we'll miss her. But we have to go on. The show must go on. This week, we are so delighted to have our favorite guest back on the podcast. The man widely known as the produce expert is back to tell us about the delightful fruits and veggies his company, Melissa's World Variety Produce, sells, which frankly could be any fruit or vegetable on the planet because Melissa sells just about every fresh produce item that exists and can be sold commercially. They have thousands of items in their catalog, many of which you can only get at Melissa's. Today, we are thrilled to welcome back Robert Schueller, Director of Public Relations at Melissa's and author of several books about fresh fruits and vegetables. There is no other person who has as much knowledge as Robert when it comes to the world of fresh produce. But of course, we can't talk about every fruit and vegetable that Melissa sells. So today, we're going to focus in on just a few of the items that are popular this time of year. You won't want to miss this episode because what we are going to feature are truly some of the most delicious and exciting fruits on the market. Robert, welcome back to the show. Thank you for joining us.
Well, thank you, Edwin, Teresa, and Rick. Glad to be back talking seasonal and the best produce there on Produce Buzzers again this time of the season. You know, holidays are upon us. You know, Thanksgiving's kind of like the Super Bowl of people shopping at the stores and doing special things and getting the best in produce to add to their menu there. Now, coming up, Christmas and Hanukkah unusually start on the same exact day this year.
Oh,
and of course, a week later is New Year's. So a lot of things happening at the same time. A lot of great produce, not only grown domestically, but internationally, that we are offering at this time. And I'm ready to talk whatever types of produce you want to talk about for the holiday season.
Okay. Well, I just want to say to our listeners that if you haven't checked out melissas.com, you got to go to melissas.com and look at their offerings, especially, I mean, they have so many fantastic things, but they have some wonderful packages of things that are specific for all the holidays, as Robert was just talking about it. Just go look at some of the gift items you could give to your loved ones there that would really make a unique and different gift for Christmas. Robert was so generous to me and a marvelous host when we went to the International Fresh Produce Association's Global Trade Show in October in Atlanta. As usual, Melissa's had a large booth there with hundreds of their products on display. And Robert took me around to show me and tell me all about all of them. Most of them are fresh items, but Melissa's also sells many items that we call value added, meaning that they are prepared and packaged for more convenience for the consumer. And sometimes they create whole new foods using these products, like their clean snacks, pastas made from hearts of palm, rice from hearts of palm, and their extensive line of steamed veggies, which include lentils, beets, and artichoke hearts. And at the show, Robert showed me their beautiful, creative line of holiday treats that they bring out at those special times of the year. And he mentioned Thanksgiving, Hanukkah, Christmas, and New Year's. But I tell you what, if you want to impress your significant other this February, check out what they offer for Valentine's Day. They had some most amazing, beautiful things, very creative gifts So check that out. Anyway, I'm enough of me rambling on. Let's get into what Robert is going to share with us today. He's got several items that he thinks are some of the most popular ones that they have at Melissa's, and some of the most unique ones. So, Robert, let's get started. What do you want to talk to us today about?
As you know, you guys, it is the winter season, and you can't talk winter without saying it is the peak of the season for variety citrus. Majority of citrus ships, out of California and some of the other Sunbelt states, all the way to Florida. However, California offers usually the freshest looking, I'd say also quality and flavors. But this is the time of the year beyond your typical um, grapefruit, lemon, lime, orange, that you're going to see these spectacular varieties there. I'm just going to go down the line and talk about a few of them and then tell you what my favorite is there. In the lime category, beyond your typical Persian lime available year round, it is a great time for key limes, which are the smaller green, very acidic variety of key limes. They're seedless. They work so good because during the holiday season, people love to do cocktails, mocktails, even cut it up, put it as a beer topper. Key limes is a great pick for that. In terms of the lemon category, beyond your typical lemon, look for those Meyer lemons at this time of the
Oh
season.
yeah.
The Meyer lemons actually is a lemon cross with a mandarin and orange variety. So
Oh.
towards the late of the season, you'll notice that the Meyer lemons towards the springtime, they'll have an orangish, almost like skin versus a yellow skin. It has a much thinner skin to it, but this one won't make you pucker as much as your typical other lemon variety. It's a great cooking lemon as well and makes a great zest. It doesn't have as good shelf life because I mentioned it has a really thin skin, but it's very popular during this holiday season. Of course, also all the different varieties of oranges at this time, whether you like cooking with blood oranges or caracar, which are the pink navel oranges, those are great picks there. Grapefruit, pomelos, ora blancos. My favorite, the cocktails, they have less bite and a little bit more sweetness to them than your typical one. But, everybody has their favorite. The pomelos are the really large ones. Ora Blanco's a little smaller. Cocktails even smaller than that. And one thing to note on grapefruits, the skin color is not an indication of ripeness because all the grapefruit at the early part of the season, October, November, early December, the skin is green. As it
Hmm.
makes its way into the early springtime, the skin will turn yellow. So it's not like a banana. Green is unripe and yellow is ripe for a banana. It's okay if your grapefruit has green skin. But the pick that you guys are going to be in that are enjoying, the all trendy tangerines, mandarins, and clementines. All in all, a fruit, small, easy to peel, kids love. You can get it in a sack or a bag. My favorite pick of the season right now are Kishu mandarins. These are small tangerines, super easy to peel, seedless, and literally taste like candy. That's why kids love Kishu mandarins so much.
Can you spell that? I'm not sure I quite got the name.
Oh, Kishu, KISHU. It's a mandarin variety that originated from Asia, though many citrus came from Asia there. It's grown domestically, mainly in California, whether it's in the Ojai Valley or the Fresno area valley there, Visalia in the Central Valley of California. And this is my produce pick right now to enjoy the best of the season of citrus.
Great. Yeah, I don't think I'd heard of those. Is that a fairly new one on your category catalog, or is that have you had it for
Um,
a while?
we've been distributing about 10 years, but they were
Oh,
very high end. There wasn't as many orchards as there is today. So it wasn't a common one you would find in your typical store. But over the last few years, I think in the last 2 or 3 years, we've really been trying to get them out into every major metropolitan area across the United States. They're easy to find because they're the smallest.
okay.
And, bigger doesn't also mean better in regards to citrus, but these quiches, they're easy to find because they're smaller than your like satsumas, pages, dancies, and stuff like that. I mean, the only other variety that I would say is great in the tangerine, though most tangerines, you won't go wrong at this time, is those Ojai Pixie tangerines, but you have to wait until March.
Yeah, those
By
come
then,
much later. Yeah.
they're gone by February, and so you can look forward to the Ojai Pixie tangerines in March.
Okay, great. Wow, I'm definitely. And what kind of container package do you sell those in? Are they loose or do you have them in a package?
Most retailers, even though they're loose and they're sold by the pound, you can find it in a clamshell.
Okay,
And that's
wow.
because they are smaller varieties of tangerines. And retailers just like to take a grab and go package, like a clamshell or a bag, and swipe it through so you can have an easy checkout. So
Yeah.
look for those tissues.
Okay, fantastic.
Can
Well,
I ask a question? If a consumer goes to your website and clicks on the Kishu mandarins, is there a list of stores that offer your label?
Unfortunately, it's ever changing. You know, we do about 1,500 different items. And there's when a customer orders from us, because we do business with the top 25 retailers, we may do business with that retailer, but it doesn't mean every single product that we sell to them is going to go into your local store. So we work backwards. You can email us or call us um, via through our website, melissas.com. You tell us your zip code, and we'll tell you a store that carries that product.
Okay.
great. That's fantastic. And if you're not seeing them in your store, another thing to do is go to your produce manager or store manager locally and say, get us some Melissa's fruit and veggies in here right now.
That helps too.
Okay, any more citrus or you got other things to talk about?
No. I can go on and on, but some of the other big highlights for this time of the year, and one is a very peculiar one that always comes up during this time. It's called the Buddhist hand citron.
Oh,
It
yeah.
looks like an octopus. Um, it is in the citron family, meaning it is a variety of citrus that has only pith. There's no fruit inside. So you're thinking, well, what's the point? It is used from a culinary perspective for its zest. In
Yeah.
fact, Buddha's hand have the best zest. If you love baking or using zest in your cooking, go to the produce departments right now, because during the months of October through about early February, you can get these Buddhist hands. But one of the reasons they've been so popular over the years, because the Buddhist hand citrus are given as gifts for good luck and good fortune for the Lunar New Year, which is on a lunar calendar somewhere between late January and early February.
Hmm. Excellent. They are fairly good size. I would have to say you maybe need to be baking a lot or doing something, cooking a lot to use it all up. How does it keep? Does it keep okay? Can you freeze it?
Um, I've never frozen it before. However, Edwin, during this time, it's the early season, so they're about the size of your hand.
Okay.
As we make our way through the season, they sit on the tree and get a little bit bigger. Yes, towards the end of the season, about January and February, they get quite large. They do hold up in your fridge for weeks. So
Okay.
don't think you have to bake all in 1 week. You can
Right.
definitely zest and freeze it. That's another alternative there. I've never frozen it full hard.
That'd be
Solid,
one. Yeah.
but I can't see why not. I always say fresh is best when you
Yeah.
zest and go, because you're going to get the most intense flavors. But for
Right.
those who enjoy using like Meyer lemons or lime zest, I think you're going to get a raised or an elevated experience using Buddhist hand citrus as a citrus zest.
Yeah. Another thought that comes to mind, I did a few years ago, I made from orange peel and lemon peel candy. What do they call it when you there's a term for it. I bet Buddha's candied, yeah,
You
like
candy citrus.
yes.
So yes, you can definitely use them on fruitcakes, or when you candy them, it is a great preservative
Yeah.
for, and they'll last for like at least 6 months. Why are you using it on a fruitcake there, Edwin, for the
No,
holiday
I
season?
just made some. I had a bunch of, so I had a navel orange tree in my yard, and I was making orange juice out of it. I was eating them fresh, but I had all this peel left over. I thought, I hate to throw this out. So I said, I'm going to candy these. And I candied them and I gave them out to my neighbors. So, but I thought Buddha's hand would probably be great for that.
Definitely. If you're all about really uh, tart yet sweet, and definitely if you've ever been in contact and worked with Buddha's hand, there is no citrus that has more fragrance and flavors from the zest. Maybe because all the intensity of no fruit developing inside, like an orange or lemon or lime, creates the flavor profiles on the skin.
Yeah. Here's another thought that might blow your mind. That same year, we had a lemon tree as well. So I made limoncello from the lemon peels, which is pretty easy to make. You need to let it age for a couple of months, but you just put the lemon peel. I think you do something with the lemon peel first. I've forgotten. You can find a recipe, but in a sense, I think you kind of candy the lemon peel. Then you put it in vodka and let it age for a couple of months, and it comes out pretty good. The Italians in Italy would probably say your limoncello is not very good, but I thought it was okay. But my point is, I bet Buddha's hand could be used for that too.
No, no, definitely. If you go to melissa.com, there's a Buddhist hand infused vodka.
Oh,
I guess you would call it a Buddha cello. Uh,
yeah, there you go. There you go.
yeah, but yes, it infuses well in any type of cocktail or mocktail that you can create during this holiday season. Definitely.
Okay, fantastic. All right. What next, Robert? We're so eager to hear.
Well, I think during also this time, a lot of people do special cooking and baking and stuff with Hanukkah and Christmas coming up. At Hanukkah time, everybody loves using potatoes to make latkes.
Yep.
Potatoes are an instant side for the Christmas and through the New Year's holiday as well. My pick among all the different varieties of potatoes, first and foremost, I love enjoy cooking with baby potatoes.
Mm,
However, Melissa's signature Dutch yellow potatoes, I think they're the best of the best. A lot of people
yep.
confused because they think the Dutch yellow potatoes are baby Yukons. There's no such thing as baby Yukon. Pretty large potatoes, and it is a very popular. You've seen a lot of recipes. But when you see baby Yukons, they're referring to the Dutch yellow potatoes, or they call them Dutch potatoes, whatever. They come in yellow, red, and also the blue purple color as well. So you can add some extra plate presentation. But the yellow ones are our signature ones because one thing about the Dutch yellow potatoes, there's the only variety. Have you ever put baby potatoes out on your counter or at the store? The lighting that is in the store or in your kitchen creates the skin to go green if it's sitting too
Mm,
long on your counter. And then, of course, that spoils the potato. The Dutch potatoes, they never green. So you
mm,
never have to worry about that, whether you have them on your counter for a week or 2 or 3 weeks. Most potatoes, they'll green within a week or two, and then you have to end up throwing them away. And
yep.
that's not only because of the flavor profile, because it has a great shelf life. Those Dutch yellow potatoes are my favorite, and they're a pick. Whether you're making latkes, a side dish, or even a mash, you can. The good thing about the baby potatoes is they don't take a long time to cook. You don't have to peel them, and they taste, buttery. So
Oh,
you don't have
yeah.
a lot of butter, which is a common thing that people do, add more butter than to potatoes, when you're making a mash. But I like to take a potato riser and smash it at the potato thin skins, giving an extra texture to a mash. So if you've never had baby potato mash, use those Dutch yellow potatoes. You'll love them.
Yep. And they've got to be the sweetest potato I've ever tasted. I don't know that. Do they do bricks levels on potatoes?
Not necessarily, but I definitely agree because your typical russet potato that most people use when making a mash, um, it's very starchy and dry, and you have to add, like a ton of butter, a ton of cream, a ton of milk, to sweeten up and also make it more tender than, starchy.
Yeah.
So that's why so many people, I mean, this has always been a chef thing. They don't use russet potato is not the preferred potato when making mash, when making a lot of side dishes. The secret has always been using baby potatoes because they all, other than washing them, you don't have to skin them, so you don't have to do that extra labor in the back room. They cook faster, and all in all, you're just going to have a great eating experience without adding, more butter than to the potato itself. So there you go.
So you can leave them out on the counter; they won't turn green. But is it still best, just like other potatoes, to store them in a dark, dry place? Cool,
yes,
dry.
but most people don't have a pantry to store them dark, and most people just put them out on the counter. But the natural lighting, especially the kitchen lighting, is what actually induces the other baby potatoes to spoil on your counter there. So
okay,
have a cool, dry place, perfect. Just where you put your onions as well. Same thing happens with onions. Just don't make sure those onions don't get wet somehow on your counter. They'll just start sprouting, and that's a nightmare.
And I've heard you're not supposed to store. Best not to store onions and potatoes together. Is that true, or is that not a
correct? Every fruit produces a level of ethylene gas. So if they, people stack them on each, sometimes they put it in a bowl and they stack the potatoes and then the onions on top, and then the onions like maybe get smashed a little bit and then leak, and then the potatoes and the onions start growing because of the cell in the onion leak juice, and then you're going so there you go.
That ethylene gas is what ripens fruits if they're climacteric, I think is the word. Anyway, I'm getting too pedantic with my climacteric. Anyway, yellow Dutch baby potatoes, or is it baby yellow Dutch potatoes? Is it yellow baby Dutch?
Baby Dutch yellow potatoes. We even red potatoes and baby Dutch purple, blue potatoes as well. Pick your color. They each have a different texture, and obviously a wonderful plate presentation to surprise your guests.
Yeah, so colorful. And you guys sell a pack that has a mix, if I'm correct.
Correct. We do a gem pack of all the different varieties in one. If you can't make up your mind, what's your favorite?
But if you're going to do a mashed potatoes, you probably just want to use the yellow ones, I suppose, because if you mash all the colors together, it probably doesn't look right.
It does not look right. We've had a couple people who contacted us. We never recommend that. However, you guys, mashing the blue purple potatoes, Dutch potatoes, very cool. Kids dig it. But don't mix them up with the other ones. Just do all blue and purple, or just do all yellow.
Yeah. Another way I've cooked them, which is really great, and I usually use the multicolor pack, is roasting them, but smashing them after they get a little soft in the oven. You smash them down and roast them.
Twice big.
Yeah.
These make great appetizers. They're almost like mini latkes.
Didn't think about that.
Yeah, they make a great appetizer at the beginning of your holiday parties there. Maybe a little Parmesan cheese on top there.
Yeah.
Now you have like an elegant, you tell the kids it's like it's a potato nugget. If you say the word nugget, they're like, ooh, we got something gourmet here. So
now, Robert, all Melissa's has to do is figure out how to put the potatoes in the shape of a dinosaur, and then you'd have something. Well, the Japanese grow all these pears and fruits in molds, so maybe Melissa's can start growing their potatoes in dinosaur molds.
Hey, we do that. We don't do it with potatoes, but every once in a while I notice a potato is in the shape of a heart. And I remember, I don't know, about 10 years ago, someone on the Late Show gave President Obama a heart-shaped potato, and he accepted it or whatever like that. But One thing that we do grow in molds, I know exactly what you guys are talking about there, is our pumpkins. And
Oh,
we do our pumpkins. We grow them in a plastic container that has a Frankenstein face and like a ghostly witch face as well. So we're probably not too far doing that as they do in Asia for many of like pears. They do them for
yeah, that's
pears.
right. And you had those on display at the produce show, and I took some pictures of them. So I'll put those pictures up on our website, listeners, so you can see those. Those were fantastic. Okay, well, potatoes, citrus potatoes. What else is good?
Apples.
Apples. Okay.
Um, it is so confusing now when you go to the produce department. It seems like there's a new apple variety every single week now during the apple season. Apples domestically, whether they come from Oregon, Washington, or California, or if whether you're in another apple state like Michigan, Minnesota, uh, New York, Jersey, or whatever. Everybody has their particular apple. The particular standard that goes off, I would say right now on a commercial level is the Honeycrisp variety. It actually was developed out of Minnesota there. Hey, Rick. And
Yeah.
I'm going to give you what I believe are the best tasting ones because I'm one of the cool things that I do is I get to taste all these fruits and vegetables because I speak to the media so often because they always ask me what is the best tasting this, that, or whatever. I'm going to tell you right now, um, for sure. For the last few weeks, there's a green variety. No, it's not the Granny Smith variety. It's
Hmm.
called the Green Dragon variety. If you can
Oh,
find those, they're actually out of Oregon, if you can believe that, who's really known for their pears. But these apples are dynamite. Another one that comes out of Washington is called the Honeys, Hunnyz, Honeys.
oh yeah, I've seen those.
It's a hybrid of a Honeycrisp, um, and it's a newer variety. It's only available. They only grow it organically, so look for that one. Another variety, which I think is the coolest looking variety. It is not only sweet, but it's also a tart one, so you can cook with it. It's called those hidden rose apples. We got together and helped um, started offering them into the marketplace about 8 years ago. The hidden rose ones are the ones that are yellowish green on the outside, but when you cut them, they're pink
Oh,
on the
wow.
inside. And
Yeah.
so it's an heirloom variety brought back in the marketplace. They're a little bit harder to find, but again, they are available organic, just like the honeys variety that it was referring to. And it's an old heirloom variety now brought back into commercial marketplace. So
Heirloom. That's
that
really interesting.
a
And
lot of
yeah.
impact on it. But my favorite one right now, guys, because I know everybody has their favorite. Rick's probably the Honeycrisp because that was where that one developed the standard right now, which is the Honeycrisp. So you can't go wrong with the Honeycrisp. Is the little bitty ones? They're called crimson gold apples. They
Crimson gold. Crimson gold. Yeah.
Crimson gold apples. They look like crab apples, but the crimson golds are super sweet and is more resemblant to a Gala Fuji Honeycrisp in a bite. Kids love these because they're about the size of a ping pong ball, and kids will just keep on eating them. I mean, you can give a kid a big apple, and he or she will take a bite out of it and it just doesn't fit their mouth and they just set it down and then the parent ends up eating the rest. I've given my kids a bag of these when they were much younger now, and they've eaten through the whole bag with their 1 pound bags, which is equivalent to like 3 large apples.
Yeah, that's
So
interesting.
they're organic as well. A lot of great tasting apples that are organic. This one's the organic crimson gold apple, and the season goes through early January. So look for it. And believe it or not, they don't come out of Washington. They don't come out of Michigan. They don't come out of Minnesota. They actually come out of California.
Oh, well, California does grow a lot of apples. They're pretty high on just about everything, but that's interesting. That's coming out. So, and what kind of package do you sell those in?
They come in a 1 pound bag.
Okay.
So easy grab and grow. You know, Usually the crab apples you'll see next to the lady apples, which are your cooking apples. But these, don't worry, they're in a bag. They're next to all the other sweet varieties, not the tart varieties. Kids love sweet. Tart is for cooking when it comes to apples. The sweet is typically about 98% of the produce department anyway. But I hope the confusion when you go into a produce department now and see about 12 different varieties, yellow, green, every which color and stuff like that. And they all have their buzzy names to them as well, that I've helped you guys out today next time you go into the produce department.
Yeah. I'm just glad they didn't use crisp in the name because we've got too many apples with crisp in it. Okay, well, I'll look for those. Those do sound great. We used to eat crab apples when I was little, and we'd have a bellyache after, but we'd eat them anyway, just because they were small and easy to pop. I didn't think about the fact that it's not the kids toss the big apple away, not because they're full of apple, for another reason. Perhaps because they get tired of holding it, the juice is running all over their hands. That's interesting. Very interesting. Okay. Apples. It's always
Pears.
apple season time. Pears, of course.
Of course. You know, I mean,
Pears, a pear tree is a partridge in a pear tree.
exactly. Um, so you can't go during this time of the season without talking about pears. However, a favorite one of ours and a favorite that's out in the marketplace right now are butterscotch pears, commonly also referred to as Korean pears. So even though we have a lot of great pears that are grown in Oregon in particular, such as the red crimson gold apples, Bartlett, Secco, Forelli. There's so many different varieties of pears. One of our favorites, and the only variety of pear that you can cut and put on a fruit platter, because a typical pear, when you cut it, you can't put it on a fruit or cheese platter because it oxidizes really fast.
Yeah.
And so that just doesn't make a good presentation after about 10 minutes. But these butterscotch pears, which is a variety of Asian pear, they actually come from South Korea. These are the big golden ones. They're a pear that's in the shape of an apple. They're golden size. They have a very small core. They have a very thin skin. Typically, most pears have a very thick skin. But the butterscotch pears, though looking like an apple and crispness of an apple, they are all pear. And this is the pear you can cut and elegantly put out on a fruit platter or cheese platter or charcuterie board. This is the one to do it. The season had started back in November, goes all the way until about February. And that is one of the many varieties to look for and one of the favorites that you would find. If you go into some of the Asian markets, they sell these butterscotch pears, Korean pears by the case, because so commonly people give the case of fruit as a gift to friends. Some people like to, in America, they love to give a bottle of champagne or, flowers or candy. There's this trend here, as it's always been very trendy in the Asian countries, to give gifts of produce when you come over to visit family and friends. If you wanted to bring a great gift and the fruit doesn't oxidize, if you put it on the fruit platter, look for those butterscotch pears now through February from Melissa.
Yeah. They are delicious too. They've been available here locally in my local store. Ingles has been taking them from Melissa's, and I've been buying them. And they are, you mentioned how crisp they are, but they're so juicy too. I mean, boy, the juice will just splatter all over you. So you got to be careful. But, and the texture is so unique. It's not the typical texture of a pear. I don't know how to describe it exactly, but it's a different texture, but a very pleasant texture.
Are these like what we typically would call an Asian pear?
Yes, they typically are they're within the family of the Asian pear and apple pear. But during this time, the domestic season ended just about October, and we do get a lot of Asian pear imports from like Chile. But always during this time, it's just they're not as juicy and crisp and delicious as these ones we're getting from South Korea, believe it or not. And it's always been a problem during this time of the year, the holiday season, to have Asian pears. And we've been doing these strongly for the last 12 years.
Mm-hmm.
The butterscotch pears really caught on over the years, because this is a time where people really want to do something special for their families and friends. And, the charcuterie boards, the fruit platters and stuff like that is always a typical, like, starter of an appetizer set menu before the actual menu of what you're going to be enjoying for Christmas or Hanukkah or New Year's there. So,
So they, so
go
they're
ahead.
like the crunch and juice. You just like the other Asian pears, you crunch into them, but they just turn to juice. Correct?
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly.
I
So,
did a taste test, Robert, between the Asian and the butterscotch, and I don't know if it was psychologically put in my brain by the name, but they did kind of have a butterscotch flavor to me. And the flavor is different than the Asian pear. And to me, I like the butterscotch better than the typical Asian pear. So it's just me, but
yeah, well, there's so many different varieties. When you say Asian pears, there's hundreds of different varieties. Just
oh, okay.
these are the ones that ideally grow and most popular in South Korea and a lot of the Asian countries as well. So, but it
Yeah.
wasn't until 12 years ago that we started offering them fresh here in the United States and during the holiday seasons.
And do you only source from South Korea, or are they starting to grow some of these in California?
No, they don't have this variety in Southern California.
Okay, we got to look for those butterscotch pears, listeners. You will really love them. I'm telling you, I've been eating them. Anyway, what next, Robert? You got anything else?
All right, yes. Two more things. However, I want to segue into this because I remember being on your show uh, uh, in the summertime there, and we were talking about the $400 pineapple. Remember that
Oh,
conversation?
yes.
Okay, so you guys ready for this? So back in the spring, I had told you about the $400 pineapple. This was the biggest food story, produce story back in. I did this story with CNN back in the springtime, and when they reported the story to the media, it went berserk, went everywhere, and in 3 days, we sold out of Ruby Gold pineapples for the season. So, and yes, $400 each. Well, I want to tell you, the Del Monte grown out of Costa Rica, the Ruby Glow pineapples are now for sale again. We have a short season during the month of December. We're only going to get about 150 to 200 of them. And we
Wow.
just started selling them again. So if you go to melissas.com right now, you want to enjoy not only the newest fruit to the United States, but the rarest fruit experience ever. Get your hands on one of the few hundred ones that are offered globally at melissas.com. It's the only way to get it. You cannot find it at a store.
Wow.
melissas.com. We just had about 20 of them this week there. But I think like what happened in the spring when the buzz happened, and there's starting to be buzz about these $400 Ruby Go pineapples, which are red on the outside, gold on the inside. It comes in a really pretty box. So think of it this way: the box is $399, and the pineapple is $1. Think of it that way. But
Okay.
you're going to give your family or friends, if you can send it anywhere in the United States, one of the rarest, if not the rarest food experience globally. And they are spectacular. And by Christmas, because we anticipate selling a few hundred during the weeks leading up to Christmas, Hanukkah, and New Year's, because pineapple has always been a great gift to give during the holiday season, and they're simply delicious.
I bet they are. And you should have a lottery for these. I think that's the way to sell them.
Well, what happened is as soon as it was reported in the media and went crazy, I mean, you could just Google the article. It's called the $400 pineapple back in the early springtime there. And it went viral. And 3 days we sold out. It was another story that we sold out. Who in the heck is buying a $400 pineapple in a $5 market?
Right.
And Yeah, it was
Yeah.
brought with much attention. So what ended up happening is we have a list where you can get on the global list when the product is available. So if you were on that list, you got contacted last week that we have the Ruby Glow pineapples. There was over 150 people who received an email that we now have them in season for the month of December. But it's first come, first serve. So if you want to be the few, the brave and give it a try. I remember last time one person bought two of them.
Wow.
And the person resided in Minnesota, of all places, Rick. I can't disclose who it is, but mainly people from California and New York made up the majority of the people who ordered them. A lot of them were food people, or their title had chef in it, but I can't disclose the actual people who got them.
It'd be too dangerous. Their house would be broken into. People would be stalking them.
How many celebrities ordered them?
Can't. There was a handful, but I can't tell you which ones, unfortunately. There, when you make a purchase on Melissa's, you're anonymous. You're not going to be given. Well, every single media contact says, "Oh, can't you just give me one name and a number and an email? I need to ask them." And unfortunately, I couldn't do it.
Yeah.
It was like one of the big I got sold out.
Maybe what I'm going to do is put out a message across social media. If you bought one of these and want to talk to me about it, call me. How about that? Then you're not involved. You don't get any blame for outing them.
Well, I tried them. Ask all the questions you want.
That's the other thing. They have silent auction. Well, silent auctions or anonymous auctions. You should auction these things.
We do on GoBelly.
Yeah. Okay, the Ruby. I'm sorry, I just already forgot the name. Tell me again.
Ruby Glow.
Ruby Glow.
Pineapple.
Okay.
The
And you say
rarest fruit.
it's red on the outside, not on the inside.
Correct. You go to melissas.com. The first thing you're going to see is a red pineapple on the cover and how you can purchase one. They're actually $39.95. So it's even a better deal now.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So that segues my way into one of the most popular fruits that has been the number one trending fruit in the United States for quite some time, and especially this past year. And over the years, when we first introduced it with Del Monte, it is called the Pink Glow Pineapple.
Pink Glow. Not Ruby Glow, but Pink Glow.
Pink Glow Pineapple. Okay, a little bit more affordable. These sell in your local stores, depending on the size, 15 to 20 some dollars each. You can get the one in the largest sized one in the pretty box and send it anywhere in the United States at melissas.com. We exclusively do that for $29.95. It is one of the biggest presents, unique foodie gifts that you can send to your friends. I mean, the Ruby Glow one, the $400 pineapple, is the most unique and most rarest. However, if you don't have the $400, you can buy for $25 and ship it anywhere in the United States. But this has been what makes the Pink Glow pineapple, grown out of Costa Rica, so special. It is not only pink flesh, that's a given. However, people who hate pineapple because of the acidity, a lot of people stay away from acid fruits like citrus and pineapples in particular, or maybe tomatoes, but pineapples seem to have a lot of citrus acid, and about 20% of America doesn't like pineapple because it may burn their gums or their mouth. It doesn't feel right. That is because of the citrus acid. The thing is it's there is no citric acid in the pink pineapple. So all you taste is sweet pineapple without the citrus acid. I'm sure there's a couple of people out there who prefer the citrus acid, but in sales today, even though this is a $15 to $30 pineapple in what is the typical $5-6 market, we can't get enough of them, and that is one of the biggest highlights during this holiday season. We have been selling a ton of them to retailers across the country. See, when we first introduced them in 2019, we didn't even have enough to be able to ship into the stores. It wasn't until 2 years later in 2022 that we actually started shipping in the stores. You can find them in your local stores, whether you want the smaller one or the medium sized one. But to get the large premium one in the pretty box, you go to melissas.com.
Great. Yeah, that would make a great gift. And that's really not, that's an excellent price for a gift. People will remember that forever. Not like the tie that I got, you know, that I never wear.
Or the
What'd you say, Rick?
or the fruitcake.
Oh, the fruitcake.
People, it's like a joke, you know.
Okay. The Pink Glow pineapple. Look for it. Give them as a gift. You will never be forgotten. Your loved ones will say, wow, I've never had a gift like that before. Okay, Robert, this has been fantastic. Have you got something else to surprise us with? Or are
I
we?
think the closing should be about what is the number one specialty produce item at the end of the year for the month of December.
Is this a trivia question?
No, it's actually, well, I guess, but it
Are we
is
going to guess? You're asking us to
I would
guess?
say cranberries.
cranberries are extremely popular towards the end of November because of Thanksgiving. But I'm going to put you out of your misery. It is black-eyed peas.
Oh,
Oh,
yes.
Southern tradition says you have to have your black-eyed peas on New Year's Day.
yeah.
We sell 99% of our black-eyed peas in the last 2 weeks of December. It is the
Wow.
number one specialty item. Over 75,000 cases distributed throughout the United States. Each case contains about 24 packages, and it gets shipped into every major metropolitan area in most states because you have to have your Melissa's steamed or tubbed black-eyed peas on New Year's Eve, New Year's Day, because that is the only way you're going to have a good year. So if you're superstitious, you know to have your black-eyed peas on New Year's Day.
That's right. And you're shipping them everywhere, not just to the South. It sounds like this has become a tradition everywhere.
Oh, it's a tradition everywhere. In the South, black-eyed peas are extremely popular pretty much on a year-round basis.
Yeah.
That's the 1% of our black-eyed pea sales throughout the year. But black-eyed peas go everywhere. We ship them to Hawaii and Alaska even during these coming weeks leading up to the New Year's holiday, and I gifted you guys each of them, so look for them soon and save them
Yes.
in your refrigerator until the big day, New Year's Eve, New Year's Day, and go to melissas.com. We have over 24 recipes. The Texas caviar recipe is my favorite, using it as like a bean dip, whole. You don't have to smash them. It's what is called Texas caviar, using the black-eyed peas, and that will ensure you guys the best year to come for Produce Buzzers podcast and radio show. Okay.
Yes.
Robert, have you heard the history of how that tradition started?
Yes. Go ahead, Rick.
Yeah, it's started in the Civil War. Yeah, and
yeah, that's on the fields there in the fall. That's all they had to eat out there. I mean, you don't okay, we're gonna stop fighting. We're just gonna group up and go meet at Starbucks. No, the black-eyed peas that were left on the fields saved soldiers' lives because that's all they had to eat.
Right.
Interesting.
Yeah, and my mom used to put a dime in our turnip greens.
I thought it was in the black-eyed peas, but
I guess it was, wasn't it?
yeah.
No, but greens are another traditional ingredient for the new year. Greens represent cash.
Right.
So greens is a subcategory of another tradition, especially in the South, for New Year's Day as well. Typically, black-eyed peas, greens, whether you're collard beet or whatever your favorites are, ham, doing a ham hock or something with the black-eyed peas, another thing. But you got to check out that Texas caviar recipe at melissas.com.
I want to look at that. That's got some hot
sauce. It was in the black-eyed peas.
Yeah,
our mother used to put a dime in the black-eyed peas, and whoever got that would have the best fortune. for the
Have you ever heard of that, Robert?
I have. Wait, you put a dime in it, so
Yeah,
like,
after
what
when you put the bowl out on the table, she would put a dime. She would put a dime in the pot of beans and then pour it in a bowl, and everybody dip their serving, and whoever got the dime was going to have the best fortune.
Wait,
And I never got that done.
what will happen if the dime ever gets swallowed?
Yeah. That's why you don't want to advertise that.
Yeah, let's not advertise that
We
because
should edit that out. Okay.
if two nickels come out, I'm worried.
I was going to suggest you put a dime in each package of the Melissa's black eyed peas, but
Yeah.
that
Good
could
way
be
to get a
some
lawsuit.
Yeah, I guess we were just very careful. We knew it was in there somewhere, so we were just very careful.
Yeah.
I think we did have turnip greens usually,
Mhm.
and I
Pork
don't
chop.
ever remember us having collard greens, but collard greens is in the South is big with the New Year's Day with black eyed peas. But yeah,
With
pork
pork chop.
chops was the thing.
Yeah.
That and the black eyed
I
peas and
think that
turnip.
was the Yankee in her. The pork chop. I mean uh yeah, the pork chop part. I don't think that's the traditional Southern dish. I think that was the she was born in New York. And so I think that may have been another tradition.
Yeah,
Well, she was also German descent. I think the pork chop was probably more of that.
yeah. Okay, well, Robert, you've given us so much today, and even ways to ensure our prosperous year coming up. Not only enjoying these delicious fruits and vegetables, but enjoying another prosperous year. So, thank you for that. Thank you for taking the time and to be with us. But as much as we appreciate your generosity, you've sent us a package of some of these things to test and try out, and your willingness to come on the show and educate our listeners, we still have to put you through some punishment. I think you remember that you do not get out of the Produce Brothers podcast without being punished with one of Teresa's
Ah.
homegrown. So, are you ready, Robert? Okay, here we go. Teresa, what is the homegrown of the day?
Well, we all know how difficult it is to be a farmer and how you can do everything right. You can pamper your product, your produce right till the very end, and something can happen and destroy it. And so was the story for the pear grower. He had the most beautiful set of fruit and it was growing perfectly. And then there was a huge storm, wind, rain, hail, and all of the trees, the pears on the tree fell off on the ground, sort of a windfall. But what did he say when he saw the condition of the pear tree? Not a single pear on it.
Okay, so let's recap here. Give Robert some chance to figure out what he thinks the answer is. So he had the best pear crop he'd ever had. Everything was perfect right up in time to harvest, and then a storm knocked all the fruit off onto the ground. And he looked at the pears and he said,
I
"What do you
don't
think,
know.
Rick? Come on."
Well, I was closing my eyes to imagine this and see if anything would come up, but hmm.
I'm blanking too.
Apparently I have no idea.
Okay.
Apparently.
He stoically looked at the tree and said, "Guess I'll have to repair it."
Oh, man.
That is bad.
Arr.
Sorry, Robert. These are getting worse every time, right, Robert? Oh, I could see the pain on your face.
That's good.
We just are not. You're so generous to us, and we still treat you badly. So anyway. Okay, well, thank you again. It's such a pleasure to have you. I wish you the best holidays and hope to have you back again soon, sometime early in next year, and come back and educate, enlighten, and our guests, our listeners, I mean. So thank you so much.
Thank you
Thanks.
guys for having me on. Look forward to talking with you guys and chatting again next season. Okay.
Okay,
All
great.
right. Sounds good.
Bye-bye.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Well, thank you, listeners, for tuning in to the Produce Buzzers podcast, brought to you by Produce Buzz, the gathering place for lovers of fresh fruits and veggies. We hope you were entertained a bit and educated a lot about fresh produce. Be sure to join us next time, and please tell your friends to do so as well. Like, share, and comment on our Produce Buzz Facebook page, and check out our website at www.producebuzz.com. There you will find articles about fresh fruits and veggies, how to select, store, and prepare them, as well as lots of interesting facts about all the wonderful bounty the earth provides for us. Until next time, be fruitful and don't forget to veg out.